Good evening. This is CTV News for Tuesday, August 14th. I'm Patricia Vallone.
And I'm Denise Douglas. So glad you could join us this evening. Well, the University of Maryland admits it made mistakes in the Jordan McNair incident.
McNair is the Terrapin football player who died of heat stroke this summer. And Chris Marks is joining us now with the latest on this incident.
Yes, you know what, and it's been something that's been being talked about with this report that has come out about the toxic nature of the Maryland football program, and all these things led directly to the death of Jordan McNair, and they talked about it today, so let's get right to it. For the first time since a damaging ESPN report detailing bullying and abuse in their football program and the circumstances surrounding the death of Jordan McNair, members of the University of Maryland spoke to the media today about preliminary findings in an independent report. School President Wallace Lowe and Athletic Director David Evans apologized in person to the McNair family in Baltimore before returning to College Park. Here's what they had to say.
The university accepts legal and moral responsibility for the mistakes that our training staff made on that fateful workout day of May the 29th.
We have learned that Jordan did not receive appropriate medical care and mistakes were made by some of our athletic training personnel.
Some of the actions of our athletic training staff, not the coaching staff, the athletic training staff, well, they basically misdiagnosed the situation. No vital signs were taken. Other safeguard actions that should have been taken were not. For me, that was enough to say, I need to come and personally apologize.
The emergency response plan was not appropriately followed. Second, the care we provided was not consistent with best practices. And third, that heat illness was not promptly identified or treated. Our athletic training staff did not take Jordan's temperature and did not apply a cold water immersion treatment.
As you've heard, the training staff was negligent in caring for Jordan McNair. We will have more on this story as it pertains to bullying and the toxic atmosphere with Maryland football right here on CTV Sports later in the program. And, you know, we've been saying it for a while. What was the training staff doing? I've said it for a long time. The training staff is there to protect these student athletes, not push them as coaches do. And they didn't do this for Jordan McNair, and now it's all coming out.
Now, we've been talking about this story since yesterday. Are you surprised that the University of Maryland has come out as strongly as it did in that press conference and so forth?
That leads me to believe is that they had nothing to defend. They had to come out and they had to say this went wrong, and it falls on the athletic training staff. So that's, yeah, I'm not surprised because when they did the report, they found out that, yeah, they were negligent.
All right. Thank you, Chris. And we'll have much more of this later in the newscast. Well, our second story takes us back to College Park, the scene of last night's devastating storm. Byron Scott has our report on how those residents are faring.
This is video shot during the height of last night's storm. A resident was recording video on his cell phone when a large tree fell. That tree fell on Curtis Scroggins' property next door, crushing the front end of his large van, his car, as well as another neighbor's vehicle.
It was one tree that came across. It came all the way across, hit the truck, it hit the top of the house, slid off of the house, it hit the car, and of course, went through the truck.
Yesterday's weather was hot, but for the most part uneventful. That is until around the evening rush hour when dark clouds rolled in, bringing with them hail, heavy winds, and destruction.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty intense.
Zachary Adams was inside his home as winds swirled and hail pelted his house like marbles.
So I was worried about this, and I came and looked and saw it fall, thankfully, just across the fence and just missing my neighbor's car.
It started raining when I first came in.
Brian McLaughlin was also inside his home when the storm hit.
It's the rain, I saw it out of the back window. It was like pretty much zero visibility. And then I started seeing the hail. And I was like, we better get downstairs. And right about then, that's when our tree landed in the yard and hit my brother's car.
Today, College Park was in cleanup mode. Fallen trees were reduced to chips by large mechanical shredders. Other limbs weakened by the storm were cut and lowered to the ground.
Well, last night I heard it on the news.
For arborist Sandy Whitley, it's been a busy night and day.
I was in here until about 2 in the morning, making sure everybody's houses were safe. This is not the worst storm I've seen, but this one, just hit a few select houses just right. So we've been a little bit busy.
And while there is much to clean up and rebuild, the good news is no one was injured.
It's it's Mother Nature just throwing something at us every now and then.
In College Park, Byron Scott, CTV News.
Yes, thank you, Byron. Definitely good news that no one was hurt. A man who allegedly lit his pregnant girlfriend on fire is going to be released from jail soon, sparking criticism from many people. Authorities say LaQuinn Phillips set his girlfriend Andrea Greenidge on fire inside her apartment in Capitol Heights last September. Greenidge sustained burns to more than 70% of her body, and after being rushed to the hospital, she gave birth early to a girl. Phillips' trial was supposed to begin today, but a judge pushed it to December as the state awaits the results of DNA testing. When Phillips is released, he will be under house arrest with an ankle monitor. Greenidge and the state's attorney's office are upset by that decision.
Well, domestic violence is an ongoing challenge within Prince George's County. According to CAFI, the Community Advocates for Family and Youth, more than 1,400 domestic violence calls were received in 2017 alone. Now, CAFI says when victims need to escape a harmful situation, the biggest problems they face are finding a place to stay. But a new app, Safe Night, brings technology and the community together to help those in need, like this woman who asked to remain anonymous. She was the first user of Safe Night app.
A domestic violence survivor, and I first want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. Having an app like this that provides for a person that is in a situation that feels like I have no place to turn to, this is a godsend.
We know that when someone is ready to leave and they're in danger, they have to leave right then. And we have to be in a position to be able to place them, okay, this is where you can go right now, and have the funds to pay for it. And that's what this app gives us the opportunity to do.
And so how can you help? Download the Safe Night app, sign in, select Maryland, and click Community Advocates as the provider. Then when there is a need, you'll receive an alert so you can pay for that emergency night stay.